All right, if you are a hairstylist who does extensions and you are using Genius Wefts, we need to have a conversation. Keep alcohol-based products away from the seam of your Genius Wefts. And let me explain why. Now, one thing that we have to realize with Genius Wefts is the seam is not like just hair and string. The seam is essentially a type of glue. It's a type of sealant that is put on the seam of these wefts in order to make sure that you can go through, you can cut it, they don't shed, there's no problem. I fucking love Genius Wefts. They're amazing. But the problem with that is if we think of something like tape-ins, right? How do we get those off? Well, we are essentially using an alcohol-based product to, I don't want to say melt the tape, that's incorrect, but that is what starts to break down the tape and break it apart, and it makes it like kind of like sticky and gummy so that you can actually peel it apart. This is kind of similar to that. It's not tape. I want to be so crystal clear so I don't get fucking yelled at for that. It's not tape, but if you are taking an alcohol-based product and you are constantly spraying the seam of Genius Wefts, I am letting you know right now, they will start to fall apart. There is a chance that the top could turn a little bit gummy, or all of a sudden a client's going to come back and you're going to be like, yo, like, what is a chunk of hair doing missing from this? Like, why is there like a weird chunk of hair missing? Now, with that being said, I'm not saying you have to avoid all alcohol-based products. Alcohol is not the enemy here. Alcohol is actually very good in certain products that we use. For example, like dry shampoo. That's amazing. It needs alcohol in there to help absorb that oil and dry it very quickly. But if you're taking it and you're spraying that dry shampoo directly on the seam, and I mean, if you're a dirty girl like me, that sounds gross. But if you're someone who doesn't shampoo their hair often like me and you do use dry shampoo pretty frequently and you're spraying it on the seam of a Genius Weft, that is going to cause a problem. Also, certain things like the root touch-up sprays that a lot of women use, yes, those have alcohol in it because of the pigment that's inside it. It makes them very quick drying. All of those things are great, but once again, if you're taking it and you're spraying that on the seam of a Genius Weft, it could potentially, with time, cause it to fall apart. Same with texturizing sprays or volumizing mists. Like, all of these things have alcohol in it, which is why I'm saying alcohol is not the problem. Alcohol is not the enemy. It's an ingredient that could potentially cause a problem in the future, which is why I say, like, hey, even like shine sprays, if you want to use all those things, great. Use them from like mid-strands down. Use them all over your hair. That is perfectly fine. But the reason I'm saying this is getting extensions is an investment. This is not something that's, you drop a cup, that's annoying, it breaks, replace it. It's, $5, $10, $15 to replace the cup. We are not talking hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to replace this hair. And hair should last a year. Like, it just should. It shouldn't be fading weird colors. It shouldn't be falling apart. Yes, shit happens, and it always depends on how the client takes care of it at home. But I do feel like this is a topic that is probably not talked about enough, and once again, could potentially cause a problem in the future. So I hope that this quick little video has helped to kind of explain why we do not have to stay away from products that contain alcohol. Once again, that is not the issue. Alcohol is not the bad guy. In the same way that protein and keratin are not bad guys either, but if you're using protein and keratin on extensions, you're fucked. Like, they are going to fall apart. They're going to get brittle. They're going to snap. They're going to feel exponentially worse than when you initially like put them in. So alcohol, protein, keratin, all these things are not the issue if we are using them correctly. And it's one of those things, if your client doesn't know and they're going hard and they're just spraying shit all over their hair and all over the wefts, then they might have to replace that faster, and that could also have the potential to make you look bad, like you had a subpar product when that wasn't the case. It was just mistreated or mishandled. So if you have any questions, let me know below in the comments. Let me know when this helped. And honestly, like, you might want to send this to some stylist friends of yours, because I know when I first learned this, because having a hairline, you learn a lot of things. You're kind of like, well, shit, never really gave that thought to begin with.